Do you remember when The Silent Patient came out? Feels like ages ago, right? I know you have probably wondered what else has Alex Michaelides written that's even remotely close. Well, he gave us The Maidens and now The Fury. Let's talk about it. Spoiler free, but honest. I just finished The Fury, and if you're wondering whether it's worth your time, especially if you're into thrillers that grab you by the throat, spoiler alert, I wouldn't recommend it. But hang on, let's unpack why, because some of you might actually enjoy this book, and I want you to decide for yourself. First things first, this is not like The Silent Patient. That book was a page turning beast. The Fury, it's a slow burn. The setup is classic: an exclusive Greek island, a murder, a handful of glamorous, damaged people, and one narrator, Elliot, who's here to tell you exactly what happened, or so he claims. Sounds like Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, right? It is not. Not really. There is a murder, and the suspects are all there on an island, trapped, but it's less who done it and more of let's psychoanalyze everyone until you are tired. The Fury, it's slower, it dives more into the characters, takes its time to introduce you to the character, the story. Let's meet our cast. Lana, retired movie star. Jason, her second husband. Leo, her son. Kate, her best friend, highly emotional person. Nikos and Agatha, Lana's staff. And of course, Elliot, a narrator and self obsessed playwright. The relationships are messy, the backstories are dramatic, but somehow I didn't care about any of them. They didn't feel real to me. They felt like stage props in a play that dragged on too long. Elliot, the narrator, talks to you constantly. He teases you, withholds information, rewinds timelines, and sometimes that's fun, but other times, and most of the times, it's exhausting. Elliot is talking to you, the reader, and is trying to reveal the events of that particular evening on this island, events that end up in murder. Whose murder? You don't know yet. Who committed the murder? You don't know yet. Who's capable of committing the murder? Who has the motive? You don't know yet. But mostly, this book is about that. You get introduced to the characters, their complex relationships, their emotions, and motives that could make you capable of murder. And all throughout the book, you suspect and try to figure out as you come to explore the story more and the setting more. By page 50 of this book, I was mentally checked out. And honestly, if I hadn't spent money on the book or promised myself that I would review it for you guys, I would have DNF'd it right away. I did find it boring, too slow, and honestly, I felt uninterested. There's so much said and revealed about all these characters, and then if you ask me whom did I like, I would say no one. I just never felt invested in these characters. So to me, I just had to force myself through this one to finish this one. There are some elements of the writing and story that I did love. For example, the setting, gorgeous. The Greek island vibe, I loved it. I loved the nature and its role in this story. First of all those talks of rain and the usual gloomy London. I have never been to London, but I have been through the Canadian spring twice, and somehow that felt familiar and beautiful to me in its own often unlikable way. I hope you get what I mean. Like, most people get sick of that gloomy, rainy, wet weather, and yet most also miss it when they're not around it. That way. The theme of storytelling within storytelling, especially with the theater references, fascinating. Even the title, The Fury, the way it's explored, I think it's really clever. Let's talk about the characters now, or should I say, the cardboard cutouts pretending to be characters. I wanted to care about them. I really did. But let's start with Nikos and Agatha. Technically, they are part of the story. Realistically, they are props, background noise. They exist to make this setting feel populated, but emotionally they are empty. And then there's Leo, Lana's son, and that's kind of about it. He's her son, that's his entire contribution. Like, he's there but he's not there. You get what I mean, right? So who are you actually following through most of the story? Jason, Lana, Kate, and of course a narrator, Elliot. That's your core cast. And yes, things shift a little as you go, but for the most part you are stuck with these four. And while the book wants you to find them fascinating, I just could not. They are meant to be dramatic, mysterious, charming, and yet they're just kind of like bland. Now, Elliot, he's the narrator, and this guy loves to play games. He's constantly teasing you, the reader, dangling little clues, pulling you back in time just as things are getting good, only to reveal that one tiny detail he conveniently forgot earlier. At first, I was into it. I thought, okay, he's clever, maybe this will, pay off. But somewhere around page 50, I realized I wasn't interested at all. If I hadn't spent my money on this book and if I hadn't promised myself I would make this video like I said before, I wouldn't have finished it. I would have tapped out early and picked up something actually exciting. That's the truth. That's my truth. And here's a real kicker. This book is all about the characters, their relationships, their histories, their motives. So if the characters don't click, the whole thing falls apart. And for me, it did. These people were supposed to have charisma, secrets, depth, but they felt empty and so normal and plain. Like the book told me they were interesting without ever showing me why. Bottom line, these characters did not hold the ground, and that's why the Fury just did not work out for me. Now, let's talk about the plot. From the get go, the book wants you to be gripped by this one question: who gets murdered? Ooh, suspense, right? Except, no. If you have read even like one thriller in your life, you'll sniff it out immediately. It's so predictable. It's not exactly a murder mystery masterclass. It's more like a game of which character is vaguely interesting enough to kill off. And trust me, it narrows down really quick. So the mystery, who dies and who did it, felt obvious. The twist, dramatic, yes, but not satisfying. It didn't feel like a thriller. It felt like a character study that forgot to make the characters interesting. I like slow burn thrillers, okay, but this one, it burned too slow and without the payoff. Most people who would love this book would love for just the experience of reading it, the joy of dancing to the narrator's tunes, the timeline whiplash, the mystery breadcrumbs that lead nowhere, the illusion of depth. If that's your jam, amazing, truly. I hope you and the unreliable narrator live happily ever after. But me, I came here for a story, a motive that made sense, characters that did more than loiter around the plot, a twist that didn't feel like it came from a rejected soap opera script. I unfortunately missed all of that in this book. It is so not like the silent patient. And oh, did I mention in the very end you have Theo? You don't get the last name, but I am pretty sure that was Theo Faber from the silent patient. The narration style of this book, let's get to that. I think the unreliable narrative is always very tricky. You have to do it insanely well to make it work for like for most of the readers. That's what didn't work for me. So yeah, overall, The Fury by Alex Michaelides, it's a slow book with twists that are just not good enough, characters that are just not interesting enough, and a writing style that's just not convincing enough. If you're not already in love with Alex Michaelides, you can absolutely skip this one. There are way better thrillers out there that won't make you want to check how many pages are left every 10 minutes. Save your time, read better books, and hey, subscribe for more bookish videos. That's all for this one. This is Manpi signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.